Alright, welcome to the Ironwood Gym. Today we're going to go over glute-ham raises. And this is an absolutely fantastic exercise to build your squat, to build your hamstrings, and probably, at least in my mind, probably the best exercise besides squatting actually in a rack. Probably the best exercise you can do to build your squat. And that may be a little bit individual. As far as your hamstrings go, I don't think there should be any debate at all. Now I know the body weight enthusiasts are going to go crazy about and say that the razor curl or the Nordic hamstring curl is better than the glute ham raise. However, you can only utilize those exercises with a certain portion of the population. Those people that are very light and have good strength to go along with it. The glute ham raise allows you to use this exercise with bigger athletes or athletes that aren't very strong, okay? As well as athletes that are very strong in the posterior chain and the hamstrings. So they can get a lot out of this as well. So across the population, this is a more beneficial exercise for your hamstrings. The next thing, if you're a sprinter, you absolutely need to be doing glute ham raises. I don't think you should be doing a variety of exercises for your hamstrings, but glute ham raises should be an essential part of your program for developing your hamstrings for sprinting. So we're going to go over some of the pitfalls of this, some of the things people do wrong, kind of how to set it up, and how to actually execute a glute ham raise. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to set this up correctly. And I'm going to set it up a little bit incorrectly at first, so you can see kind of what I'm looking at here. So if you'll come forward, I need a shot of my knees here. So when you line up in the glute ham, you can see here my thighs are way behind the pad, and I actually cannot get any pressure without leaning forward. From here I cannot do a proper glute ham. Okay, I can get my legs extended and I can bend, but this is as far as I can go. So this thigh, I want my thigh angle to actually be completely vertical. My thighs should be vertical when I come up. So if I move this a little bit closer, now, again, this is still going to be wrong, okay? So now when I line up, you can see I still don't have quite enough pressure on my legs, okay? But I can get in here fairly tight. When I come out, when I pull myself up, I'm still not quite getting vertical. To go vertical, I have to lift my chest more, but my thighs are not getting where I need them to be. So, again, I'm gonna pull this in. And this is actually where I'm going to want to be. So, look at my feet real quick. So when I line up here with my feet, I want the ball of my foot dug into this foot plate. I want my leg really as high as I can get it, pressed into this top roller. Now look again down here on my legs. My knee, and there's some debate here. Some people like to have their knee up on the pad. I feel that makes it way too difficult and doesn't give you room to move correctly. So I want my kneecap should be below this edge of the pad. Okay, so whenever I get locked in, now there's a lot of pressure between my quads and this pad. Okay, but now also look, my thigh is completely vertical. So now as I lay out, when I pull myself back up, I'm pushing with my toes, my thighs are going into this pad, and I can get a good full range of motion. Okay, so that's how you set it up. Not quite to execution yet. Now let's look at some of the things that people do wrong with glute ham raises. And besides setting it up improperly is how they perform the exercise. So the first thing that people do is that they like to go through they consider it a full range of motion, but full range of motion, we only need to be considering the hamstrings here. We don't need to be looking at the movement, all right? Or a total movement. So if you're coming down, this is really irrelevant. I do not want to bend at the hips at all, because this part here, while it's working your low back, you're not going to get enough weight to work your low back efficiently at the same time you're working your hamstrings efficiently, because the hamstrings are going to require a lot less weight. So if you use enough weight to work your low back in a good way to strengthen your low back, you're not going to be able to do the glute ham raise to follow it. Okay, your hamstrings are not going to be able to lift that same amount of weight. So just cut the hyper or the back extension part out of it and just focus on the glute ham raise. You don't need to go all the way down. In addition to that, when people do go all the way down, they try to use momentum, okay, because their hamstrings aren't strong enough. So then when they come up, they're trying to arch, they're arching their back, trying to get up. You don't want to do that, okay? That's using momentum. That's not utilizing the strength of the hamstrings. We need to focus on the hamstrings. So, next pitfall, kind of related to that, but a little bit different. So they'll come down here, and then they're trying to arch. So they're flat, that's a good position to start from, but then as they come up, they're trying to arch. Again, just what I said a second ago, you're gonna be utilizing your low back, but you don't want to utilize your low back to develop momentum to come up, okay? So we're gonna give you some solutions to that. Next thing here would be, they're gonna A-frame. So as they start to come up, they're not gonna keep their glutes locked in. Their glutes are not gonna be locked in, and they're gonna A-frame. So they're gonna come down, they're gonna lose their glutes, and they're gonna shoot their hips up into the air. And then they'll try to finish with their hamstrings. Remember, this is a glute ham raise. So you want to keep your glutes completely locked in, keep your hips straight, so you're making a nice straight line from your knees to your shoulders, okay? So the next part would be utilizing weight. This is where people go wrong, is they're gonna try to utilize weight. I'm gonna use a lighter weight. I'm gonna get one of the big 5-pounders. When you do a glute ham raise, if you're going to use weight, the weight should be on your chest. Okay, when you're doing a back extension or a hyper, you want to put the weight behind your head. To do a glute ham raise with the weight behind your head leads you into the problems that I just talked about. Okay, because you're not strong enough to do it, put the weight here. What's the natural tendency? You're going to lift with your chest first. Okay, then I'm arching my back trying to come up. Again, we don't want to do that. We want to keep our back neutral. So let's look at how to actually execute the glute ham raise the way you should be. When you get in, just like I talked about before, you get set up properly. I get my toes dug into the toe plate. My heels are all the way against the top pad. I am going to cross my arms across my chest. I'm going to roll my shoulders forward. I'm going to keep my abs kind of nice and braced. My chin is going to be tucked. Okay. Here's the reason for every one of those. As far as every single one of those things involves me staying neutral in my body position. Okay. I'm going to stay nice and neutral. If I raise my head, or if I untuck my shoulders, or if I don't keep my abs braced in good position, what's going to happen is I'm going to try to arch to get up. I don't want to arch to come up. I want to keep everything in a nice good position, meaning my hamstrings are doing the work, not my low back. Yes, your low back is working, but it should be working to maintain posture, not to perform the movement. Okay? So, I get in here, I get set up, my knees are just below the pad, pads pressed into my thighs, my chin is tucked, my arms are across my chest, my abs are braced, I lay out, my knees should straighten, my hips do not bend. And then I utilize my toes, my hamstrings, and my toes and my hamstrings to perform the movement, my glutes to keep my hips locked in. If I need to add weight, I would add weight and hold it on my chest. Okay? I can hold a dumbbell right here on my chest, keeping my elbows to my side, my chin tucked down to the dumbbell. So that is really it. That is how you're going to perform a glute ham raise. These are all about execution. If you execute them properly, you will get a ton out of them. There are many variations of the glute ham raise that you can do. There's different ways of loading it isometrically and eccentrically, which are great. But for the basic glute ham raise, that is how you should be executing it. If you perform it correctly, you will get a lot out of it for your hamstrings. So until next time, always be in the pursuit of strength.